and they can be controlled by making the substance of their addiction, or the focus of their addiction, available or not available, cheap or expensive, and they can be manipulated hither and thither, to and fro. They can be made to create crime, or they can be made docile as little lambs. It also creates huge, tremendous profits beyond your wildest imagination for the secret government, and they use these profits to finance and bring into being the New World Order, the one world government, the police state that's to come. And number three, it scares the living daylights out of the middle class, out of the people who feel that they're a little better than everybody else because they have a little more than everybody else, and they don't want to lose it. So they scream for protection. In the latest poll, folks, they were asked, would you be willing to give up some of your constitutional rights in order to get the drugs and crime off the streets? And guess what the answer was? The answer was yes, 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 yes. Please take the drugs and crime off the streets. We will give up whatever we have to give up, but don't subject us to this fear. Well, if you think that they had fear before, they're trembling in their boots now. Trembling in their boots. And the cause of the black man in America has been tumbled backwards for 100 years, at least. At least. And the black man will be lucky if he ever regains what he has lost over what has happened in the city of Los Angeles. And this is exactly what was supposed to happen. And all you kids, all you members of gangs out there, you want to feel like somebody? You want to be somebody? You get in touch with me and I'll show you how to be somebody. And I'll show you how to save yourselves and help save this country. Because this country is all you got. You see, it's not middle class America that's oppressing you. We're all being used. All of us. We are all being manipulated and used like puppets. And when those with the power pull the strings, we dance and we like it. Because we've been taught that that's what we're supposed to do and that's what we're supposed to like. And that's what Los Angeles was all about, and that's what Rodney King was all about. And Rodney King made an eloquent speech saying that he wasn't like that, and he wished the violence would stop. Well, Rodney King, I got a message for you, buddy. You should have thought of that before you got in that car and tried to outrace the police and then resisted arrest while you were drunk. I feel sorry for the beating you took, but don't tell me you're not like that, because that's a crock. If you weren't like that, none of us would be in this situation we're in right now. Let's hope that you learn from this and that you won't be like that in the future. But don't tell me that you're not like that. And what about all the black civil rights leaders who fueled this, and the congressmen who fueled this, and the media who fueled it? What about Congresswoman Waters from South Central LA, who when asked if she would make a plea to stop the violence, said no, she wouldn't? What about all these self-serving, self-righteous leeches on the community that fueled this? It's time to wake up. It's time to take your power back. It's time to understand that I'm not your enemy, that you're not mine. It's time to understand that we're Americans, and we all live here together. Racism is evil. Anti-Semitism is evil. People cannot help what family they're born in. Whoever you are listening here right now, you had no choice into what your race is or who your parents were. No choice whatsoever. To hate a man or a woman because of the color of their skin, or for anything else that is as stupid as that, is insane. And if we continue to do that, we will surely deserve the harvest that we will reap from our actions. Racism is not born in anyone. It's taught. It's taught by parents, by teachers, by peers, by coaches, by friends, by relatives, by bus drivers. Some young men learn it when they go in the military service. Although the military service, I must say, is probably one of the best integrated, least racial groups in this country. Now, some of you might want to know, how do I know all of these things? What authority do I impart these words of wisdom to my listening audience? It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. I used to be part of this group who was bringing all these things about. I was there. I was in the midst of it. I was a member of the Office of Naval Intelligence. I saw plans for this over 20 years ago. For everything that's happening in the world today, I'm the only person in the world who has an absolute 100% accuracy rating on predicting future events. And so far, I've never been wrong. I'm not bragging, and I'm not proud of that. You see, because I base all of this upon documents, plans that I saw when I was a member of the Office of Naval Intelligence, and upon 20 years of research. I hope and pray every night that the next day I will be wrong. I want to be wrong because the day that I start to be wrong, it means that we will start to win the war. And don't fool yourself. We are engaged in a war for our freedoms, for our future, for our existence. And we are in great danger from many, many, many things in many, many areas, and one special group of people in particular. But the biggest enemy that we have on this earth is ourselves, our own ignorance, our apathy, our inability to see and to hear and to understand, our willingness to elect somebody we never saw, don't know, and trust them explicitly and believe that they're a saint while they go trooping off to Washington. Have you ever stopped to think how absolutely absurd that is? Absurd. Most of you can't trust your own relatives. And you trust some stranger to go off and represent you in Washington, and then you forget about it and trust that person to do the right thing. And then you wonder what happens when they don't. Come on, wake up. I mean it. And you better wake up and start voting, and you better throw all the bums out, put some citizens in there, and you better restrict the terms to one term, because if they decide to become a professional career politician, that means they got to get reelected. And if they got to get reelected, they can't do the right thing. That's what's wrong with this country. They can't do the right thing. So they're easily corrupted, easily bought and paid for, easily steered down path away from us. And at some point along the line, their conscience doesn't even bother them anymore, and they don't even care about us. Why? Because here's what they think of us, and on a daily basis, we prove them right. Quote, "A nation or world of people who do not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence, and thus are stakes on the table by choice and consent." Unquote. Do you fit into that category? Do you? Think about it honestly. Look yourself in the mirror. If you do, admit that you've been stupid, and decide that you're never going to be stupid again for the rest of your life.